Tennessee's, I believe, is to be initial counters.
Okay.
And so basically, how many can you add in this class? The NCAA does have the 25 per year initial counter rule, but you can play with that depending on counting guys forward or backwards or, you know, whatever, depending on when they actually hit campus. This year, I believe the NCAA, because they extended the return amnesty, if you will, to every player, saying that you can come back at your, 2020 classification, you can return at that same classification. Then they said, okay, we're going to do that, but instead of now taking the limit of scholarships from 85 to 110, which would be your 85 plus the 25 incoming counters, and it said, your 85 scholarship limit, we'll see if we're going to play with that, but the initial counters is going to be hard capped at 25, whether that's high school, whether that's transfer, we don't care. It's going to be 25 initial counters, period. Okay. Now, for Miami, you counted a guy forward. That would have been Jared Williams, the last transfer. Okay. So that means 24 initial counters because before this cycle, you already counted a guy forward to this year. So unless something changes, I haven't heard anything about additional incoming or initial counters. I haven't heard anything about them changing that number. So for all, I believe that Miami's full for this class as of right now, unless somebody wants to then come in August at the beginning of fall camp. So I don't think that they're going to change. I haven't heard anything about them adding, an extra 10 initial counters or whatever, things like that. And honestly, Rod Farr was talking about Alabama. That's really the curtail against Alabama because we already know that Alabama loves to oversign. They'll sign even still when they're saying, okay, we took away the oversigning thing, which is sign 30 a year, which over 4 years would be 120. Your scholarship limit is still 85. And then you kind of just figure it out to whittle down the roster. But you've signed all these guys every single year. That's what oversigning is. Alabama will still do that, but then get a 4-star guy, 5-star guy, Jarez Parks, from up the road in Florida. They'll say, hey, why don't you gray shirt? So just work out at somebody's gym in Florida and then come in January, and then we'll have a scholarship for you as a 5-star level recruit. This is the kind of thing that they'll do. So if you add initial counters, I would say that those are going to be the teams who are really going to make that work. You know what I mean? Like, because everybody wants to be at Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, places like that. And a lot of the top talent is already spoken for because we already had the, national sign or the early signing day. But the additional thing is this transfer portal, which has hundreds of guys in it. And if you add initial counters, now that's going to give a landing spot for a lot more of these transfers. Because like I said, Miami's already full. You already got a defensive end. You already got a wide receiver. You already got, Tyreek Stevenson from Miami Southridge, finally making the choice he should have made 2 years ago as a recruit, leaving Georgia, coming to Miami, announced his transfer the other day. That's awesome. But when you take 21 and then you add those 3 transfers, so DeAndre Johnson from Tennessee, who went to Southridge, you have Charleston Rambo from Oklahoma, and then the aforementioned Tyreek Stevenson, who also went to Southridge, and now he comes back home. You add those 3 guys on top of signing 21, and then you had a guy who counted forward. You're already full. Boom, done. So I have not heard anything or read anything or seen anything reported or rumored or anything like that about the NCAA adding additional incoming counters, i.e. extra numbers for either high school recruits or transfers to come in. But if they were to add numbers, then you're looking at a guy like Palai Gataote, the 4th from Bishop Gorman, who was at USC, the 5-star cornerback, linebacker, who's been working out with Tate Martell. Why? They went to high school together. So you're looking at that saying, okay, well, we need additional depth and talent at linebacker. Now let's bring in Gatote. Now let's look at a different kind of a guy. Let's look at maybe another cornerback, because even with Stevenson, Miami only has 6. Let's look at these guys additionally to bring in. So are there ways that Miami could use additional incoming counters? Yes. Do I think those initial counters are going to come to give Miami the room to be a little bit more flexible? Probably not. So you're probably going to look at August, if ever, for adding more guys to this roster for this upcoming season. Again, unless the NCAA changes their mind and gives additional, numbers for incoming counters, Miami's done. You know, like I said, we signed 21. We had 20. Jake Garcia was 21 on, you know, during the early signing period. You get 3 transfers in Charleston Rambo, DeAndre Johnson, and now Tyreek Stevenson. That makes you 24. You already counted Jared Williams forward from when he got here for 25 for this class. And they said, hey, 25 is your hard cap. You cannot add more guys than that in this year. So now you would have to wait until August to add somebody else. So it should be uneventful. I'm already working on my, you know, full recap of this recruiting cycle for Miami because, again, you know, boat's full, seats taken. You know, like you're going to watch and see where some of these unsigned guys might go if there's any room in some of these other places. And I think that's why some of these guys in the transfer portal have maybe been told, hey, we have a spot for you. We just want to wait because we're recruiting this one guy and we want to see him sign and then just make sure that we have that number because of the way the incoming counters are and things like that. But like I said, in terms of Miami, it's really just going to be retrospective for us. You know, I took the day off because I always take off the signing days to do things. But like I said, I'm just working on a couple of recap pieces and, you know, whatnot. And I'll, you know, just move forward. But there shouldn't be, absent the NCAA changing their stance on how many guys you can add during this recruiting cycle calendar, I don't think that there's going to be any surprises because we just don't have any room for anybody else. Like literally, we have no room. We're done.